Right now on the Daily Debrief, the body of a missing Houston girl is found and identified. Also, actor Kevin Spacey makes a surprise appearance in court to face sex charges. And a former NFL player accused of sex crimes asks a key witness to come back to court. Plus, a love triangle leads to alleged murder in Texas. But who's responsible?
And it's been 3.5 years of hell ever since.
The Daily Debrief recaps the day in court. It's Monday, June 30th. Welcome to the Debrief, everybody. Aaron Keller, along with attorney Michael Bryant, my co-host here. Good to see you tonight.
Good to be with you, Aaron.
All right, the body of a missing Houston girl has been found and identified. Malia Davis disappeared in May, and her stepfather, Darian Vance, was arrested around that time. He apparently told a community activist where the body would be. A highway maintenance crew searched in Arkansas and indeed recovered a black bag filled with bones and blood, which have now been confirmed to be those of Malia Davis. Vance claims the child died due to an accident. A surprise court appearance by actor Kevin Spacey as prosecutors move forward with a case alleging indecent assault and battery. Spacey did not need to appear in court with his attorneys, but did so anyway. Spacey is accused of groping a young man in a Nantucket bar, but the defense says that the young man's mother, a former TV news anchor from Boston, deleted text messages which make Spacey look innocent. The defense also says the accusers made up some evidence, and the defense has issues with the prosecutor's sister being friends with the alleged victim's mother. Spacey's lawyer even accused prosecutors of lying to keep evidence hidden.
We said we need access to the phone and the information on the phone. Why? Because we think that it contains, potentially at that point, and now we know it's true, exculpatory evidence. We, the defense, requested any and all relevant information related to Will Little's phone. The Commonwealth falsely denied having any access to the information on the phone and to the phone itself. That was a clear and intentional false misrepresentation and falsehood that was designed to keep us from knowing exactly what the Commonwealth had in their possession. It is inexcusable.
Let's go back to Texas now, where a second person is on trial over the alleged love triangle murder for hire plot, which left a young dentist dead. Brenda Delgado is accused of plotting for months to kill Kendra Hatcher. Hatcher was dating Delgado's ex-boyfriend, Ricardo Paniagua. She's accused of paying triggerman Christopher Love in money and drugs to actually shoot and kill Hatcher. Getaway driver Crystal Cortez pleaded guilty and agreed to testify against Love and Delgado. Love was already convicted and is on death row.
You will hear from Crystal Cortez. Crystal was arrested and charged with this offense the same as her. But she will tell you that yes, I agreed to do it in exchange for money. She will tell you that we followed Dr. Hatcher every day for almost 2 weeks, beginning around August the 15th. She will also tell you that they were able to meet a man by the name of Christopher Love. And he was recruited to take part in this plan. And he agreed to commit the offense in exchange for money and drugs because Brenda Delgado, for some reason, was able to convince him that she was part of the Mexican cartel. At the end of this trial, we will have shown you beyond all reasonable doubt that Kendra Hatcher is dead, and she's dead because of the actions of one person, or the planning of one person, the desire of one person. Sitting right there.
The defense says the death of Kendra Hatcher was caused by Crystal Cortez and Christopher Love, not Brenda Delgado, even though she was the ex-girlfriend.
Dr. Hatcher is dead, she shouldn't be. But she is not dead because of Brenda Delgado. She is dead because of Crystal Cortez and a man named Christopher Love. You never will see Christopher Love. That is why she is dead, and she shouldn't be. She is dead because Crystal Cortez saw an opportunity to rob, and then the robbery went bad, and Dr. Hatcher ended up dead. They will say that Brenda Delgado stalked, at times, stalked Dr. Paniagua, her ex-boyfriend. She did. They will say that she made statements to various people who will come in here and testify, that she made statements about wanting to hurt or kill her ex-boyfriend, Dr. Paniagua. They will say that she made similar statements about Dr. Hatcher. No one ever thought anything of this.
So the defense admits that the defendant was obsessed with this next witness who recounted the death of his new girlfriend, Kendra Hatcher.
After learning what happened to Dr. Hatcher, did you convey that to Ms. Delgado?
Yes, sir. Later that night, I sent a text to her conveying that my girlfriend had died.
Do you recall what kind of response you got back from her?
That night, I did not get a response. I got a response the next morning.
Do you recall what the response was?
Just that she didn't get the message until today, which would have been September 3rd. And that she was sorry.
Was that masking something deeper? That is the question. Victim Kendra Hatcher's mother described finding out her daughter was dead and what her life has been like since then.
I said, please, God, tell me what's going on. And Jamie said, Mom, it's Kendra. And I'm like, what? Kendra? What do you mean, Kendra? And she said, Mom, she's been shot. And I'm like, what? What do you mean she's been shot? And then she said that she didn't make it. And it's been 3.5 years of hell ever since.
A horrible tragedy to discuss tonight. Attorney Michael Bryant with me here on the Debrief. Michael, so how does one convince co-conspirators? I'm a member of a Mexican drug cartel and I can get you money and drugs if you pull the trigger.
Well, they don't have to give an IQ test apparently before these people decide to join this conspiracy. It's ridiculous to think just humans would even consider doing this, and yet she worked hard enough and Delgado finally found her patsies.
Okay, so what do you think of the defense opening here? I mean, normally, let me back up. I'll tell you what I think of it. And then, okay, so we're in agreement here. Okay, so, you know, I sit here and look at these trials and I say, you know, I really should listen very closely to the defense because oftentimes we hear the police case, you know, you've got government authorities, you've got a burden of proof. The government needs to be held to its burden. But this time, I mean, come on. The co-conspirators are going to get up there, they're going to point the finger at this person. How would they have known about this girlfriend were it not for being tied into this by the girlfriend?
Of course. Well, I give us, you know, a little golf applause to the defense for giving it a shot. I mean, it's something. They're trying to at least create doubt in one person's mind because, hey, you get a hung jury and it's a victory in this case. Come on, you know that.
Okay, but there's strong evidence in this case.
Of course.
I mean, you know, we've got the co-conspirators, we've got presumably text messages. You have all of this stuff tied up together.
And you just don't have a good enough motive for Crystal and Love on their own to do this crime.
Exactly. I'm not seeing it here. So look, I mean, I don't think it's going to work, but, you know, this is a strong case for the state. I don't think it's going to work for the defense.
No, I can't disagree, but they got to give it a shot. That's their job.
They have to. Okay, we're going to move along. Prosecutors are suggesting that a South Carolina man accused of murdering his 5 kids is faking a mental illness to avoid conviction. Timothy Jones Jr. could even be executed if jurors find him guilty and then agree on a punishment. He admits disciplining one child to death and then strangling the 4 others. Jones then drove around with all 5 bodies in the back of his Cadillac SUV for more than a week. Here is a doctor who testified for the state on rebuttal.
So overall, he did not meet criteria for a neurocognitive disorder based on this evaluation.
So his brain's basically okay? Just in layman's terms?
Yes.
Okay. He doesn't have a broken brain?
Correct.
Okay. So do you determine, or have you determined that the difference between the testing between what you found and what Dr. Brawley found was based on the medication Mr. Jones been taking,
That is my conclusion, absolutely.
as opposed to a head injury and it just got better.
Yeah, we would not see a head injury in the first percentile or a neurocognitive disorder of such, exclusive from a state of delirium, that then jumps into the 80th percentile just for any organic reason.
So it was obvious it was the medication.
That's the biggest explanation the best explanation I can come up with.
Closing arguments followed. First up, the prosecution. Here is how the state walked jurors back to the alleged attack.
He loses it. He punishes him. He doesn't just spank the folks. He is absolutely brutalizing this poor little child. He's putting him through the paces. PTing his ass. Those are his words. Spanking him. Come off of it. Tell me what you did. And Natan's not saying a word. Natan. Little Natan's not saying a word. You think he was too scared? You think if he admitted it, it would have made any difference? He'd just get punished then for what he did again? There's just one little moment where there's hope. Amber calls. Right in the middle of the trauma. And she hears all the noise, the ruckus. Tim saying, son, you could have killed yourself. Not, oh my God, Natan's trying to kill me. Or Mira and Natan, what are y'all up to? Amber, are you involved in this? None of that. There's no delusion. There's no delusion.
The defense focused on the expert testimony and said all the experts found Jones to be psychotic, even if some of them didn't think he was legally insane.
Every psychiatrist that has met with Tim has said he was psychotic. They disagree about why, but they all said he was psychotic. Even the court's expert, Dr. Frierson, says that he felt morally justified in doing what he did. But he had the capacity to know different. It doesn't make any sense to me. To know, to believe that one thing is right and to know it's wrong. But that's why we have juries. That's why you have to make the decision. Killing children that you love is insane. A brain disease that can make you think that that's the right thing to do is a nightmare. But it's what Tim has.
A jury can find Jones guilty, not guilty by reason of insanity, or guilty but mentally ill. And of course, you saw the prosecution's checklist as to where the state wants jurors to go. If there's a conviction, that case moves into a death penalty phase. Deliberations move on. And still ahead tonight here on the Debrief, deliberations also pushing forward in the case of a California man accused of killing a family of 4. Plus, a fight over a GoFundMe page spills over into the sex crimes trial of a former NFL player. After the break, hear the testimony of a witness forced to take the stand for a second time. That in just a moment. Welcome back to the Debrief. We remain waiting and watching for a verdict in a California quadruple murder case. Defendant Chase Merritt is accused of killing all 4 members of the McStay family. Merritt did business with father and husband Joseph McStay on the right-hand side there. Prosecutors say Merritt killed for money, but the defense says there's only scant evidence of a crime scene in the family's home, and the defense points to unknown DNA from items buried with the victims out in the desert. And also in California, the daughter of an alleged rape victim was back on the stand facing a harsh second set of questions. This is all involving the trial of Kellen Winslow II, who played 10 seasons with the Cleveland Browns and other teams. Winslow faces 12 counts, some in multiples, and almost all are sex crimes. His 5 victims range in age from 17 to 77. The The latest mess unfolded when the daughter of accuser number 1 said she wanted to testify after watching her own mother's credibility being questioned in television coverage. The prosecution asked permission to put her on the stand, and the judge allowed it. Immediately thereafter, the defense caught that daughter going on TV and trying to raise money online, and that started the problem.
There's a reference to a GoFundMe website or place, I don't know what you call it.
Right, and you showed us all a picture of that. She's trying to raise $50,000 for her mom's mental health or something like that, correct?
Right, and just imagine that. It looks like she just took it down. I was looking at it while we were in trial, at least I had it up when I was in trial, and she had indicated that the fund was set up to fund her mother's, she had a history of mental health, and that she wanted to get some sources, some resources to have continuing mental health for her and then her relocation.
It sounds like it goes to bias, interests, or other motives she may have had while she's been up here on the stand. If right after her testimony she starts a fundraising effort to raise money for her mom.
So I would agree in terms of maybe the pecuniary interest and whether or not she's out soliciting funds at this point in time, and it would go to her own credibility as to whether or not she has any knowledge of any mental health history or mental illness that Mr. Carlos is referencing. I think that is entirely irrelevant to the jury's determination and assessment of the credibility of Jane Doe number 1.
Okay, so back during her original testimony, this daughter, who's the subject of this debate, tried to back up her mother's account of being raped allegedly by Kellen Winslow II.
She asked me about STD testing, and I let her know that Planned Parenthood, you could do it for free and it's confidential.
Ms. Foster, when you were having that conversation with her on March 18th, did you see any items of clothing in your mother's bedroom?
On top of the pile of the laundry basket, there was a pair of white pants. They were stained with blood.
Did you see where there was blood on the pants?
It was in the crotch area.
Did you ask your mother about that?
I did, but the way I phrased it was, "Oh, you ruined your pants." And what she replied was, "Yeah, I'm on the rag." She had asked me to look up the phone number for the Encinitas Sheriff's Department.
Did you do that for her?
Yes, I did.
Did you ask her why she needed you to look up the phone number for the Encinitas Sheriff's Department?
Yes, at this point I was a little concerned because of the STD testing mentioned a few days before. So I asked her if everything was okay, and she said, "Yes, I was attacked, but I'm going to file a police report."
The daughter was back on the stand for additional questions from the state, at least to start. Watch the body language here. The defense was not happy about some of this.
GoFundMe page online last week.
I did. I had made the GoFundMe page after I had spoken with you. That was Friday, so I made it the night before I came in to testify, so that was Monday night. You ask the public to help you fund some need that you have.
And did you feel like you had a need after finding out what had happened to your mother?
Objection,
Yes.
Your Honor, outside the scope.
Overruled.
Yes, I did.
Now, based upon what you testified to previously and what you, in terms of how you came to learn about what happened to your mother, did you feel as though helping your mother get out of town might be a good idea?
Objection, Your Honor, outside the scope.
Overruled. Goes to the motive for establishing the GoFundMe page. You can answer.
Yes, exactly.
Did you feel like she needed to be away from her attacker?
Yes. I was thinking about therapy cost, moving cost. Pretty much I was thinking, so the average wage of someone is like $50,000 in a year. So I was thinking to make sure that she is covered for at least a year while she settles and finds a job in the new state, I wanted to make sure she'd be covered.
Okay, so the defense had these questions.
So you did this on your own volition, is that right?
Correct.
Did you do it to help your mother?
Yes.
Now, as far as any actual compensation or money paid, have you to date received any money from anyone?
No.
you and your husband are already planning on moving, isn't that right?
Correct.
So it's going to take another $50,000 to bring your mother with you?
Correct.
And you want money for a year's worth of wages, but your mother wasn't employed, was she? She wasn't working at the time of the attack, was she?
I don't believe so.
And she wasn't working now. She's not working now, right?
Well, she has her seasonal job now.
When you originally put this up, you were asking for $100,000, weren't you?
Yes, and then I realized that was way too much money.
And then you took the post down, right?
I did because I was receiving threats online.
Okay, back again is attorney Michael Bryant, my co-host here at the Law&Crime Network. So, Michael, what do you make of this whole thing here? We've suddenly got a trial within a trial here.
You know, I think it helps the defense more so than the prosecution. Okay, so now they're doing the money grab. This is the money grab that the defendant alluded to when he was first talked to by the press. It just doesn't look good. How much does a homeless person normally make? $50K? That's pretty good. That's a pretty good start.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so, you know, and not only that, but you've got the daughter basically begging to take the stand mid-trial. We have this evidence hearing. We listened to some of that, okay? You know, this all happens. Then she makes the page the night before she takes the stand. Then she takes the stand. Then she goes and does a television interview afterwards where presumably, I didn't see the whole thing, but what was she doing? Plugging the appearance here? Like, what's going on with this?
Yeah, it's a show. She's putting on a show, and the goal, I think, is to get her and her husband, I don't know about mom being a big concern, but certainly this witness and her husband, they're moving. They need some cash. They need to, you know, help fund themselves. And mom seems to be a pretty good helper with what we just heard in court.
So the surprise witness suddenly becomes a boon for the defense here.
Exactly, and it's despicable, really. I mean, to think about what she's trying to do, or apparently was trying to do through this GoFundMe page, that isn't what that whole process was designed for. And it's abuse of the process, and it just smells. It
okay,
stinks.
so, you know, one thing that I got into back, when was it, last week when this whole thing started to unravel was, okay, why is it that in California they call people to get up there and say, okay, you know, it's one thing to get a crime victim up there and say, this is what happened to me. Okay, but it's another thing to then call everybody that alleged victim ever talked to try to corroborate and back it up. You know, you can have 50 conversations and all of a sudden we got to call 50 people.
I know. The umbrella is the prior consistent statement. As a California attorney, I'm well aware of it. I know how it works. It can be abused. And I think that's up to the judge to keep it from being abused so you don't have that parade you're talking about.
Okay, and here we had the parade, and then here we had a score for the defense, which was unexpected. Michael Bryant, great to see you here on the Debrief.
Good to see you, Aaron. Thanks, bud.
Come back as always. We will be back with live coverage of the Winslow trial and other trials, including the death of Kendra Hatcher, tomorrow at 9 a.m. We'll see you then on Law and Crime.